till you die. Life is short, or some may say. What else is there but to rock it away? The lights of the hour are doing in the shower. Never a flop, there's no reason to stop. I got my own guitar, I know the chords. I play my cigar, laying flat on the floor. The east and the west, the battle won't matter. Only the music can settle the score. Rock till you die. Rock till you die. You die all alone, then journey to found. So rock till you die. Yeah, bones reflecting my eyes, and when they eat my flesh. But I got the power to win all the hours to rock my life away. The sound of the crowd, the creak of the bones. I play it so loud with my mates or alone. It don't really matter if my world should shatter. I hold it together in iron and stone. Rock till you die. Rock till you die. You die all alone, then journey to found. So rock till you die. Rock till you die. Rock till you die. You die alone, then journey to found. So rock till you die. Rock till you die. Rock till you die. You die alone, then come back to found. So rock till you die. Rock till you die. Rock till you die. You die alone, then journey to found. So rock till you die. Rock till you die. Rock till you die. Rock till you
Oh, hi, audience. What's up? It's Greg Sestero here to introduce you to the True Blue RiffCast, where they talk about amazing movies, bad movies, and everything in between. So you're listening to the True Blue RiffCast. Enjoy it.
Thanks, Greg. This is the True Blue RiffCast, the #1 RiffTrax podcast in the world. And I am Jeremy, and I am joined, as always, by...
Sup, everyone? I'm Dave.
Hey, Dave. How's it going?
It's going. It's going great. I watched this great movie last night about slavery called Yambao. Have you heard of it?
Yeah, I watched it this morning. In fact, that's what we're going to be talking about today. The 2014 RiffTrax release of Yambao, a.k.a. Cry of the Bewitched, which is a much better title.
Much better title. I don't know why they changed it.
I don't know either. So what's new in your neck of the woods?
Well, other than people from California moving here in droves and driving up home and rent prices.
Ooh.
And destroying the scenery here, not much. And I hate them all. And I really am looking to leave because move away from Utah, even though I just got a new job. But that's the job that I got has opportunities in other locations. So what I really want to do is spend the next 2 or 3 years here and then get another position with this company that I'm with somewhere much more rural. That's kind of like where I grew up, where it's not a disgusting city enveloping everything around me.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, I don't know. I don't know if I sound like a country snob, if those exist. But
Country snobs. I don't know. It's
country
an
snob,
interesting
they're like,
turn of phrase.
oh,
But...
cities are for fools.
City folk all taking over the place.
Yeah, well, no, it's true, man. But I'll try not to complain about that because it'll make me sound like a whiner. I did get into a couple of really hilarious Facebook fights yesterday.
Nice. Those are always fun.
So let me tell you about one and then the other. I'll do it real quick. I'm in a Final Fantasy. I'm in a bunch of Final Fantasy groups, and one of them is a Final Fantasy X group. And some doofus posted, "Erg, got 10 hours of progress erased by my kid who just opened the YouTube app. Erg." And I was like, okay.
What? Do you not save your games?
Yeah, no, see, that's the thing. And I said, okay, one of two things is happening here. It's like, number one, save. You know, it's like I've played Final Fantasy X a couple of times in my life. I'm familiar with how it's laid out, and there are save points all over the place.
Yeah.
So, like, and also, okay, and then I said this, and I also said, which started the fight with me and several other people who just like jumped in, and you'll know why when I tell you what I said. I said, also, who plays for 10 hours straight with little kids running around? Hashtag bad parent.
Oh, Dave.
No, I don't have kids, so like that's not part of my experience. But I know it's be like I know that like if you have a kid and you're playing video games for 10 hours straight, I mean, unless you're playing it in the middle of the night, like what's gonna happen? You're gonna come be like, Daddy, but please pay attention to me. Turn off Final Fantasy X. Also, I've missed at least 2 meals in the last 10 hours. So,
at least, yeah. I mean,
yeah, people jumped in, and like one of the defenses it's like, well, you can just pause the game and walk away from it. And I was like, okay, first of all, if that's true, then you didn't lose 10 hours of gameplay. You just lost 10 hours of Tidus standing out in the field. So like what's the problem? So that was the first fight I got in. And I just like, look, guys, it's real simple. 1, he's an idiot and doesn't know how to use save points.
Yeah.
2, he played for 10 hours straight with the kid running around, which makes him an idiot and a bad parent. So like, I don't understand what the big problem is, but people just kept coming. I just kept doubling down because it just got to be hilarious. People are like, well, are you calling me a bad parent? I have an autistic child.
Yes.
People just like throwing all this at me, and I'm just like letting it bounce off me, like nope. So like it got to be the point. It's like I want more than anything to be banned from this group today, but it didn't happen. Now the other fight that I got into was in this creative writing group.
Oh boy!
Where I was like brand new, and I just posted very politely some of my creative principles. Now, and one of my creative principles is if you is steal liberally. Like, and what I mean by that is that if you like see a character or a scene or an element or a setting from like another piece of work from an author you admire, or just like a piece of work that you admire, it's okay to steal that element or character and repurpose it for your own work. And it's like, that's called inspiration. And you should absolutely 100% do it because it's okay. I was very specific. I said, just as long as you alter it enough to call it your own creation, this is fine. It's called inspiration.
Yeah.
And I cited this 1505 painting by Raphael called Lady with Unicorn. It's not one of Raphael's more well-known paintings, but it's heavily inspired by the Mona Lisa. Raphael was so taken by the simplistic beauty of the Mona Lisa, he painted his own version and admitted that it was ripped off from the Mona Lisa. And I was like, hey, look, it's Raphael's own painting. I mean, you look at it, it looks like the Mona Lisa, but it's also not the Mona Lisa.
Yeah.
And this is the point I was making. And these hairline trigger, just like mods, because it started a discussion, and this is among like 10 principles. I usually get pushback on don't over describe your settings and characters, because that's just boring and stupid, and
We
it
don't
makes your
need
book too
all
long.
the shapes of every cloud that's in the sky,
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I usually get pushback on that from people who just like to gas on about like everything, and I'm like, oh my god, I don't care. That's what I usually get pushback most from. But this is just like the mods thought that I was encouraging plagiarism.
No.
And so it was my very first post, and I'll send you the screenshots, but I can't right now.
Yeah.
And it's like, number 5 gets this post shut down and maybe deleted. This doesn't apply to anybody except who wrote it. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh. So they shut down comments, and about an hour later, I discovered that the post had been deleted and that I had been banned from the group. And I was like, this was not the group. Like, I was brand new into this group. Like, I'm always looking for like writers groups with people who aren't idiots in them and who actually write things that aren't werewolf smut. It's a big problem. That's not a joke. Werewolf smut is huge. I'm not
Maybe I
kidding.
should start writing werewolf smut then.
No, don't. It's disgusting. I've sampled some of it. Like, well, maybe there's some value in it. I can learn some like plotting tips.
No,
or
you
something,
know
'cause
you can't,
I'm
Dave.
usually open to like I'm not that it would be great literature, but I have read smut by these disgusting horny women who write stuff like this, and sometimes it can be pretty funny. And you can learn like some pretty good like way to like construct things that sound funny within like your own work.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm looking for a writers group with like intelligent people who actually write and create to like talk about craft and stuff.
Yeah.
And I thought maybe that this would be it, but it had like 44,000 people in it. And I was just like, this is my first post, and like first thing, I just posted my creative principles, and like, nope, poof, banned. It's like, this was not the group that I wanted to get banned from today. There's this other place that I was trolling hard in, like blatantly insulting people, calling them bad parents, and I don't get kicked out of that group, but I get kicked out of this one.
Apparently not, Dave.
Anyway, I'm not a horrible person, everybody, I promise. I just like to have fun with idiots.
He's not always a horrible person, anyway. So first things first, let's get an update on the RiffTrax Live Kickstarter here. We have 10 days to go. Only 10 days to go already.
Didn't they cost 400,000?
They are at 430,842 right as of this moment. And
For
yeah,
one movie, wow.
Hey, you know, that's pretty good.
That is pretty good. But then I think the original Kickstarter got more than that.
Possibly.
It was only for the one movie.
Yeah,
I still want them to
possibly.
do Twilight Live.
That would be amazing. I would love Twilight Live. So the RiffTrax Live Return of Swamp Thing Kickstarter is obviously doing very well. Now let's take a look at a different crowdfunding thing here.
Oh God!
And that
people
is
are putting that on my Facebook wall. People are like,
3.
Hey, Dave, remember this?
Birdemic 3 completion funding. They're at $140.
With 23 days left.
With 23 days left. I don't think it's gonna happen, James.
No, here's the thing. By all rights, the way like with Birdemic as it is, like it should. I mean, I know we've talked about this before.
Oh yeah.
But he should be able to raise that money.
Yep, he did it himself.
But he can't because he's an asshole.
Yep, he brought this all upon himself. People would be more than willing to help fund this movie if he
We talked about this last time, but
yes.
How much? I mean, a lot of it's got to do with the fact that he's an asshole and he pushes people away, and also that he doesn't really know how to market himself. It took other people to come in and market that movie for him to make it an international, global phenomenon. So those two factors play into it. But how much, and I know we talked about this last time, but it's something that I've been thinking about. How much of Birdemic 2, the backlash from how that movie was perceived, even though I know that the intention was different, but it was perceived as a movie made bad on purpose. And that kind of soured everybody on the whole Birdemic enterprise. Like I think even Connor once said that it made him feel stupid for liking the first one after when he saw Birdemic 2.
Yeah, he was big mad about Birdemic 2. He was big mad. I remember he made a big post about it on his old blog or whatever that he used to have, and explaining why they would never do Birdemic 2. And he was big mad, and I don't blame him at all. Not one bit.
If somebody like Connor Listoka, who is into stuff like this, reacted that way to it, how many more people who were fans of the movie had that same reaction and just kind of like noped out of the whole thing? Yeah,
like if you get Connor to turn against you,
you done messed up.
You screwed something up big time.
See, now, I know I've told this story before, but when everything was going on with James Wan and myself back in 2016, I became friends with the producer of Birdemic 2, who hates James Wan. And he said that this perception of the movie being bad on purpose, he said he gave James Wan everything he wanted. Like, it was a James Wan movie. In fact, there was a scene that they took out that James wanted in there, but they took it out because they said, if we put this in there, it's going to make it look like it was made bad on purpose. Yeah. So they were like pushing back. They're trying to push back against Jimmy Noodles as much as possible. But that Birdemic 2 is ultimately his vision. Yeah. So
it's not. It's actually how he wanted to make it, guys. Believe it or not.
Believe it or not. This is the story that I was told, and I believe it. Which I'm kind of interested to know it because he told me that he owns the rights to the Birdemic sequels. Like, he owns the movie in toto, and he also has the rights to the sequels. And he was saying, this is like, James Wan is never going to make another movie. I hate him so much that I'm not going to allow him to make any more Birdemics because I have the rights to that. End of story. So I don't really talk to him that much anymore. I haven't talked to him in years, but I'm kind of wondering how that turned out. Like, he wanted to make Birdemic 3 sequel, or Birdemic 2 sequel, Birdemic 3, Sea Eagle. Yeah. I'm kind of wondering, like, I would feel weird reaching out to him today and be like, hey, heard about Birdemic 3. What's the deal with that? We haven't talked in years. Hello. But I think I would really like to know how that happened, because I was set in my mind when all that crap went down with me, and I learned that, it's like, well, he's never going to make Birdemic 3. Like, his career's over, but now he's sort of made it. And I kind of want to know how that happened. Maybe he's just ignoring the fact that he sold the sequel rights.
Could be. Like, I've seen them do that with other movies, so where they, just ignore completely what happened. So, I don't know. We'll see. We'll find out.
Yeah.
But that's enough about James Wan for today. Let's move on to something a little bit more exciting. Check the weekend box office results.
Oh.
The number one movie, of course, is, even my dog's excited, The Batman.
The
Batman, followed by Jujutsu Kaisen Zero, the movie, which is an anime thing that I actually went to go see because I really liked the series, and my son and I went to go watch this one, and we both really enjoyed it.
Weeb.
I am. Uncharted is in third. The new A24 film, X, is fourth place, and Dog is fifth, with Spider-Man No Way Home coming in sixth place. raking in another $3.1 million.
Even when it's out on home media now.
Yeah, I mean, you can watch it in the comfort of your own home, and yet people are still going to
People
the
are still
theater
going to
see
the
it.
theaters. Well, I think
I mean,
people
what
want
do
to
you
get back
expect? It's
into the theaters. Yeah.
it's the world's favorite movie. Like, it's made
They
just
did nostalgia right.
they're
Take notes. Take
$3
notes,
million
Star
shy.
Wars. Yeah.
$3 million shy of $800 million.
Oh, that's how much Batman v Superman made. People think that movie's a failure.
800 million?
It made $836 million. Yeah.
Interesting. I didn't realize it made that much.
I know because I for a storybook parody where I took the Doctor and the Master and Torgo to go visit Batman and Robin, and they talk about Batman v Superman, and I know that figure. It's like 872 million or something, but it's at least $800 million. Remember that 8 being right there. I have to look at it, but
is that worldwide though?
yes,
that's probably worldwide. Spider-Man: No Way Home is $1,884,000,000.
Well. Well, I mean, like with those movies, I mean, I think especially Disney movies, Disney Marvel movies, even though this is a Sony picture, but like movies like that where you just like watch money burn on screen, those movies are considered failures unless they actually make $1 billion. I don't think Back to the Future made $1 billion.
No, I don't think so. But enough about good movies.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about a not great movie, and that is Yambao, a.k.a.
Yambao.
Cry of the Bewitched, a 1957 film that RiffTrax released back in 2014, June 27th of 2014.
Yep.
And this is a movie about slavery.
Yep, it's
in
about.
Cuba.
Well, I mean, I don't know if it's about slavery. It's about but slavery is a huge element in it.
98% of the characters in this movie are slaves.
Yeah, and like the only ones that aren't slaves are the master and his cuckolded wife.
Yeah, and yeah.
So I guess there's no way around like this element of it, because it stands out, especially in like today's political climate. But it was made in 1957, and we'll get back to that later. And it's a Cuban Mexican production, which is an odd mix for a RiffTrax film, because
usually we get the weird Italian movies
this is not your standard RiffTrax selection. Now, I was surprised when you said that it wasn't a good movie. It's not, but I enjoyed it. I thought this movie was delightful.
I'm not saying it's the worst movie we've had on here. I'm just saying it's not great at all.
Well, I was surprised at how much I enjoyed it. We were talking before about the slavery aspect, and we were like, well, I think this kind of gets a pass because it was made by Cuba and Mexico and not by the United States. Now, if this had been a feel-good slavery romp about Thomas Jefferson and Sally Hemings, which is the relationship the Master and Yambao have, it would be significantly less acceptable.
Yes, it'd be way. Yeah, we were talking about this like right before, and yeah, it's. I don't think that would fly at all.
No, yeah. So like that element of it, the slavery element. I mean, like you can't really escape it, and you can't really escape like comparing that element to elements from another movie called Gone with the Wind, because it's like, I mean, yeah, this movie doesn't have the Civil War, but it does have slaves who look very comfortable with being slaves.
Yeah.
And like while the slaves in Yambao aren't really like, they're just content to be slaves. Like, they don't really complain about it. It's just like their life.
Yeah, as it says, even on the Wikipedia, it says the slaves live at quiet peace with the master, but they're not above being punished for their disobedience.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about that. There's a whipping scene, and it's like the most docile whipping scene. It's like a whipping scene that would happen if you were at Shawshank, where it's just like the most not. I mean, like
the
how
whipping
Shawshank,
scene in Starship Troopers is worse. Is more hardcore than this one.
Yeah, the guy just like,
I don't know if hardcore is the word I'm looking for, but
and then like they untie him from the tree and just carry him off. Like, here, you okay, bud? All right. Yeah,
I had to do this to you.
Yeah.
So let's start
where
off.
Okay, well, I guess we're done talking about slavery.
Yeah. Let's move on and actually talk about the movie here. First, we're going to take a look at the plot. This movie actually has a plot. It actually has a plot that is there, and you can kind of mostly follow it. There's a few questions that arise throughout the course of the film, but yeah, there's a thing. It takes place in the 1850s.
Yeah.
They're hanging around in the sugarcane plantation, the master and his wife. She's pregnant.
But you can't tell because her dress is huge.
Yeah. It's a full moon. And all of a sudden you start hearing these drums. And there was a witch that they apparently killed 15 years prior. Mm-hmm. And her granddaughter
seems prudent.
Yeah, her granddaughter is Yambao. And she shows up.
So now is Yambao a witch as well? Because there's another witch in this. And this is where the questions start.
Yeah.
Because the slaves wanted to sacrifice Yambao.
Because what happens right when the time that she shows up?
Yeah.
There's the plague.
Yeah. Oh, right, yeah, the black vomit, yeah.
The black vomit, yeah. And this is, hasn't happened in decades around there, and she showed up, and now it's happening, and so they're like, oh, she used her black magic, her witchy powers to curse us with this. But the main thing that Yambao's doing is kind of going on what her grandma's telling her to do.
Yeah, so
which is to get revenge on the plantation.
So my question is Yambao a witch, or is just her grandma a witch? Or are they both witches?
I think they're both supposed to be witches, maybe. I mean, when they're trying to kill Yambao, one of the times they're trying to kill Yambao, she starts yelling about how, she's gonna come back and basically the same thing that her grandma was trying to do. She was gonna come back and get revenge on them for killing her, and they would all pay for it. But then later, she's just seems like she's possessed by her grandma.
Yeah. So
so it's
that's
really
the thing. And then,
it's not clear.
Then,
like I said,
spoilers.
You can mostly follow the plot.
Yeah, spoilers. The grandma dies, and when the grandma dies, Yambao is like released from her voodoo.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, so wait, hang on, it's but anyway, so they're about to kill Yambao, and the master comes down and is like, no, you will stop this. I love you now, Yambao. So and the master,
Let's
who you
go
think
do it.
Yeah, who you think is all right despite owning all these slaves, starts cheating on his pregnant wife with Yambao.
Yeah.
And Yambao is all about it.
Oh yeah, she's like, it's like making it even hotter for her.
Yeah, so but
We even get a
anyway,
nice uncomfortable skinny dipping scene.
yeah, like after, because I think the master gets sick,
Yeah.
and Yambao shows up at the house, and the wife and their mammy like just like sits there be like, oh, I can help. And like just and like the wife knows that her husband is banging this slave.
Well, no,
But
Yambao is
she's
free. She's not a slave.
Is she?
Yeah. They bring that up a few times.
Oh,
She's free, and he says that she can stay in the land. This was before they start banging. He says that she can stay in the land. She just has to leave the people alone. Like stay
okay.
away from everybody. But she can
Except
stay
for that's
there.
like, but that's like all she does is like go there and like dances with them and
Yeah. Well, and the one slave is like in love with her.
yeah,
And,
that's right. And he
he's the
got
one who
whipped
gets
and-
whipped.
Yeah. Okay. So that guy, let's call him Greg. I don't know what his real name is. Greg, like he's in love with Yambao, and like the head slave guy is like, no, you can't have Yambao. She's banging the master, and he's like, lies. And towards
Yeah,
the
then
end
he
of the
takes him
movie,
to go like he's like,
it's
come
like,
see.
and to the end of the movie, he takes him to like a barn or something, and it's like, look at it, and we see the master and Yambao, and they're just making out, and he's like, why did you do that to him? Like, it's
Yeah.
like you have to see it. It's like this is bad, and so we're jumping ahead, and to just kind of like close the loop on this whole adulterous master cheating on his pregnant wife, and the wife has the baby. The wife has the baby in the course of the film.
Yeah, because he's
And,
like, I'll leave with you, but I at least want to go see my child. She's like,
Yeah,
I'll give you
so-
plenty of sons. And he's like, but I want to see this one, at least.
Yeah. So Yambao goes when she's like under her grandma's voodoo magic, whatever that was. She goes to the house to kill either the mom and the baby or the master. I'm not sure. But the grandma dies before she can finish it, and then Yambao's just like, oh my gosh, right? So then she
Well, when
goes
she's
back.
possessed, she tries to kill the master.
Okay.
Like
See,
she's
it's-
going to stab him.
Yeah. So then she goes back to the plantation where the slaves who like have wanted to kill her this entire movie. She goes and she like does a dance, and they're around doing something. I don't know why
Yeah.
they just don't. They don't just like storm in and like attack.
Some of these 6 hours of dancing.
Yes, exactly. We'll get into that, the music and the dancing, which I think
Yeah.
is like a cultural, like they want to display like a lot of the cultural,
Oh, yeah.
like
Yeah, I'm sure.
dancey dances of the era. But the master shows up, and she like runs into like the master's arms, and she has a knife, and she goes to stab him, even though she's not under the voodoo magic anymore. And the master stops her and grabs her hands like Yambao, and she's like, "Oh no, I love you, but I'm gonna fling myself off this cliff."
Yeah.
That's how the movie ends. They put a mannequin in a potato sack, and they threw it off a cliff, and they showed just like a little tiny bit of it fall.
Yeah, you don't even see
Right.
like the full plummet.
Yeah, it's like you could tell, like you could be like they put in the little tiny like 2 second place where it doesn't, where you can't entirely tell that it's not Yambao. But so the master goes up and like, yes, oh no, Yambao, and then they all gather around at the bottom of the cliff,
Yeah.
and the master is like holding Yambao's head and her body, like cradling her body and everything. And then it's like Finn, the end. So there's like no comeuppance for this garbage master
Yep.
for like cheating on his wife with a slave. It's like the Yambao, like she kills herself. and I don't understand why. Because she
Yeah,
couldn't have the master, even though the master wanted to be with her.
yeah, he was gonna go with her.
Yeah,
I mean, unless he
like
just, changed
I
his
don't get
mind
it.
that we didn't
Like,
see. I don't know.
yeah, I don't understand the motivations of. And apparently, there are some things that were explained in the movie that I missed that you explained to me. So. But this movie's I mean, like, it does have a plot and it is sort of easy to follow, but it's also kind of confusing because there's very long excerpts of these cultural rituals that I guess existed in the 1850s.
Yeah. So what do you give this for a rating overall for plot? What are you thinking?
Plot out of 5?
Yeah,
2.
2.
2.
Yeah, I was thinking about 2.5 maybe, just because it's actually there is something there. Not quite as good of a plot, and I say that, not really meaning it in that way, but as like the Max Havoc movies that we talked about last week
that we just watched. Yeah,
but it's still existent, which is an important thing.
It was still there. Yeah,
there's a lot of movies that we get through RiffTrax that the plot is very much non-existent.
Yeah.
Oh man, so the acting is next.
Well, I can't say it was terribly acted. I mean, it was dubbed, but it's not like full Ghost House effect dub.
Right.
I mean, I don't even know if the Ghost House effect would apply, but they dubbed it over into English, and it was I don't know if I could really fault the actors, especially the actors of the era. The acting was very, very 50s, and it was shot in a very 50s style. So judging it on that, I'd give it a 4. It wasn't incompetent.
No, it was.
I mean,
it was pretty well done. I mean, like you said, it was the acting style of the 50s. Like it was exactly that. That if you've seen any movies from the 50s, you know what we're talking about.
They were good actors for like the very theatrical acting actors, like This Island Earth acting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very much This Island Earth. Now this is kind of an interesting category for this, simply because it was a movie made in a different language, and we got a dub of it, but the dialogue.
I can't say anything bad about the dialogue, but I can't say anything good about it either, really. So I mean, 3.
3? Yeah, I was gonna say 2.5, so 3 works. The cinematography. Now there were some shots in this movie.
There were some really good
where
shots.
It was filmed, yes, that looked really pretty. They did use a whole lot of day for night shots.
Which, guys, if you're gonna make a movie, I mean, your movie's probably gonna suck, but if you're gonna make a movie, don't do day for night. Just shoot at night.
Day for night is one of my
never
biggest,
looks
right.
Everything looks blue and stupid. And you can tell that the sun is out.
That kind of brings it down a bit for me. I'm gonna go 3 for cinematography.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with 3 too. Yeah.
The editing in the movie was fine. It wasn't like all super chopped up.
They do that weird 50s fade like that they had in like the 30s, where it's just like one scene in like it's kind of like a rough fade.
Yeah.
Where like it's very abrupt, even though it's a fade. They like don't wait for the scene to end before
they start. Yeah.
Before they start the fade.
Was kind of, par for the course.
Yeah.
Back in the 50s.
Right. Like I would compare this, like as far as like editing goes, as 50s editing goes, I think probably the gold standard for that, as far as RiffTrax goes, is House on Haunted Hill. It's not quite there because it had those dumbass fades, but I'd give it a 3.
3?
Yeah.
Sounds good to me. Now the effects, we already kind of touched on this a little bit with the mannequin and the sack of potatoes.
Yeah.
And the whipping.
Sorry, I was just thinking about that whipping. It made me laugh when that slave got whipped. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't very realistic at all. We'll put it that way. And but they did have the stuff for the black vomit.
Mm.
which I guess kind of looked all right. Considering what it was.
I don't have any complaints about it. Yeah.
I think I have to go. I have to go 3 for effects. Just
Okay. Yeah. I think I can't give it anything higher than that.
no,
So, yeah.
no. And I would give it a little bit higher if they would have actually shown the whole fall off the
Fall.
cliff.
Yeah.
Like
But no,
if they
it's
would have
just
had that in there, that would have given it 3.5 maybe. But yeah, the fact that we didn't get that, it's kind of a disappointment. Sound and music. This is an interesting one because we got a whole lot of music in this movie.
Yeah, we got a whole lot of music, like to the point where it kind of brought the whole experience of the movie down. If it had been, this movie was like what, an hour and 19 minutes, something like that.
19 minutes, yeah.
Yeah,
If it wouldn't have had the
And,
dancing, it would have been maybe an hour.
yeah. So
Maybe.
like the dancing. I remember I was talking to Connor and Sean about 7 years ago on for the Riff Wiki interviews, and Connor said that he disliked Yambao precisely because of this reason, and that he was like getting accusatory with it, like, who picked this? So like I know it's at least disliked among one person there, but so for the music, and they even mentioned it in the riff. So I don't know. I think it's got to have a 1 because I think it brings the experience of the otherwise delightful experience down. So I think it gets a 1.
It kind of just grinds everything to a halt.
To a halt, yeah.
And it really just
goes
really
on
brings
and
it down
on,
that
yeah.
much, yeah. Like they say, it's like, oh, here we go. It's another 5-hour dance break.
Yeah, with a chicken man and a goat.
Oh God, no chickens. What was the? I know I'm kind of jumping ahead for the riff part, but there was a joke in here about the guy who wanted Yambao and was like almost gonna drown her in the river because of it towards the beginning of the film. It was really weird. That he was hornier than a 3-peckered goat. I believe is what Kevin said.
That's really good.
Oh, that one really got me. That was a good one. Yeah, I agree. The Sound of Music, and I get why it was there. Again, it was like it's a cultural thing they wanted to show.
Yeah,
that,
it was just like
it really just brought the movie to a halt. And now we get to the directing of the film.
I can't fault it for.
4?
Yeah, I mean, for
it's
what it is,
perfectly fine. It's, again, this is another one of those movies where at least a few people had some idea of what they were doing while they were making it, and you can tell it's not a Tommy Wiseau thing, or it's not a James Wan thing, or it's not a Grandmaster YK Kim thing, or it's not a Neil Breen thing.
Yeah, no, but this was made by some dude. I looked into this movie, and this is kind of like the perfect part of the podcast to talk about this, is that this was made by some very respectable people in the Mexican movie industry, and it was like the actress. She's not a nobody. She had her own Wikipedia page. She lived to be like 91, died in 2015. So she lived long enough to see her butt and her nipples be shown and made fun of at RiffTrax.
But this is actually, they say, this is the only film where she had partial nudity.
Partial nudity. Yeah, we got to see her butt, which was okay.
Yeah,
but
it was better than most nudity we get in RiffTrax.
Yeah, dude. The most nudity we get in RiffTrax is just terrible. Dangerous men. No, I'm sorry. What? I'm sorry. I thought I heard somebody say something about dangerous men.
Yeah. We don't need to bring that back up. That was enough nudity for a long time.
Um, yeah,
Now,
but okay, look, I've reached a point in my life. I got to this point a few years ago, to where like I realized, like, wait a second, exactly 50% or more of the human population has boobs, and most of them are disgusting. Like, why am I so impressed with these things? And that's kind of like where I'm at now with all that. I've lived long enough to where your your boobs don't impress me, ladies. I'm sorry. I just don't care.
I yeah, when I was a lot younger, I used to enjoy gratuitous nudity in movies, and now it's just kind of like, really, guys,
Yeah,
like
it's
this
come on.
this.
We
Mostly
really
because
got
it makes me irritated because if there's a lot of nudity in a movie, my son, obviously he's 17, but he's
Yeah.
very uncomfortable watching these things with his parents, as it should be. But it kind of bums me out because there's some movies that it's like, man, I would love to watch this with him. I think he would really like it, except for that part.
Yeah.
But it has this in it, and it kind of bums me out because I can't watch it with my kid.
Yeah.
He's the guy who watches most of this stuff with me, so
Yep. But yeah, so yeah, but as far as directing, yeah, I'd give it a 4.
Yeah, four. I would go with that. Then we come to the most important part about this film: the character / personality.
Well, I mean, when this movie first came out, when the riff came out, I should say, I wasn't really that impressed with it. I was just like, what is this? This is kind of stupid. Like, why did they pick this? This is a very odd RiffTrax, because at the time they were doing things like Super Mario Brothers, The Last Slumber Party, and Zindy the Swamp Boy, which it's kind of like Zindy the Swamp Boy in the fact that it's foreign, kind of.
Yeah,
But that's really the only similarity that it has with that. So I didn't enjoy it, and it kind of fell into obscurity. But I always remembered that name Yambao, and that it was just like this odd duck in
yeah,
in the canon, and that's kind of why I wanted to revisit it, because it was just this thing, and I thought it was going to be kind of like a slog to get through, and I thought we were going to talk about this really weird entry, but I watched it. I watched it last night, and I was messaging you, and it must have been like midnight your time. And you're like, I'm going to watch it tomorrow morning. I'm like, okay, cool. But just like, I thought it was really delightful. I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed this. And I was just like, this is such a...
I remember not liking it as much also back when it first came out. I had the same kind of feeling.
But it also kind of like what brought the whole thing together, including, well, I guess we'll talk about this in the riff section, but like we said, this movie, like it's a 50s movie. It's a foreign movie, but it's not from a country that we generally get foreign movies from with RiffTrax. The subject matter is there, right? And like the story and plot, it's not really it's not really like it's RiffTrax contemporaries.
Yeah.
So at the time that was off-putting, but now it's just like, this is like, I really enjoyed it. Like I would like personality. For all the crap we gave it for like the music and everything, I really enjoyed it. In fact, if I was still doing storybook, I would do like maybe not a Yambao chapter, but I would definitely put Yambao. At least her in a cameo someplace.
Yeah, that would be good.
I got to give it I think I got to give it a 5. I think this is a great gem.
Yes, I agree with that because, like you, I had a lot of fun watching this movie again today, and
thing is,
like I said, I don't
didn't
remember liking it that much back when it first came out.
I didn't like it at all when it came out.
And
it's one of those that kind of it doesn't get referenced at all.
Oh no!
Like it's kind of like fallen to like the bottom of thing, and like I was kind of fully expecting it to be like this is kind of like I was fully expecting to come onto the podcast and say when I picked this that like yeah this is one of the trash tier picks like Copper Mountain or what's that one we watched recently that I didn't like at all? Things. I thought it was going to be like that, like this is like not RiffTrax esque at all.
No,
but no, it's just like it turned me around. I really like it.
Yeah, and I don't know what's changed since it came out in 2014, but it just it hit different. I don't know why.
It did. Just did. Yeah. Well, I mean, part of it I think is that like it's 2014, so it's in what I call the golden age of RiffTrax, and so it just kind of like that kind of like nostalgia. They do a couple of Zindy the Swamp Boy references in it, and it just kind of like, oh, okay, cool. It just kind of like took me back 8 years, and I was able to enjoy it on a different level.
Yeah. Yeah, Josh Flowers says it's RiffCast's hidden gem of the week. Yes.
Yes, this is absolutely right. Yeah.
Definitely a hidden gem. You never hear people say anything about this riff ever.
Yeah.
Like in the
it's one
fan
of those
base, nobody ever brings this one up.
So I think we're going to have to do that, being, me being the number one RiffTrax fan and you being one of them.
The number one RiffTrax fan.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, I think we should use our influence with the number one RiffTrax podcast in the world to kind of like bring this one back around. It's on Friends for all you cheapskates who have that.
Cheapskates. I don't think I would necessarily call
I'm sorry.
Cheapskates, Dave.
I'm sorry, but it's true. I called somebody a bad parent on Facebook yesterday and didn't get banned for it, so I have to take it out on something. I don't mean it, guys. It's shtick.
He's just joking. It's Dave. You should know this by now.
Yeah.
And then of course the riffs. The riffs in this are great.
They're great. I mean, it's not like the best. It's not like Birdemic. But it's like I said, it took me back to a time when I was not a doddering old fool at age 41. It took me back 8 years to when I was 33. And it's just like it was just like at the height of like my RiffTrax like fandom. It's just like, oh, I wish I could get this back. Like just like this level of like enthusiasm. And it got me thinking that just like, I'm going to have to do eventually. I'm going to have to, because like when I'm an old man and everyone's forgotten about RiffTrax except me, like what I want is like, I want to watch the entire library again when I'm an old man. So I want to just kind of like pretend that I'm like a younger man again. So like, that's what this made me feel like. It was very nostalgic. The riffs, especially like the style of the riffs along with the movie. I enjoyed it. It reminded me of, younger Dave, 8 years ago, 2014 Dave.
8 years ago, Dave. Yes.
When like being a RiffTrax fan was like the number one thing about my existence.
That was your main personality trait.
Yeah, that I was a
RiffTrax fan.
Yes, this is no, like look, man. I was up there for a while with being a fan of RiffTrax. Was like the number one thing that defined like my life. Like, I know that sounds pathetic, but it's true. So
I mean, I was pretty much there too. Like, it's still one of the only things I talk about with people is RiffTrax.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still there. Like there's still some. I mean, like, but it's like I've had other things happen in my life. Since then, I had a pro wrestling quote unquote career. And just like buzz MFers, and just kind of like my mind was just like my time just became divided, and but I don't know. Part of me wants to get back to that,
As it should, Dave. As it should.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go 4.5.
I was really happy with that. Yeah.
I'm gonna go 4.5 on riffs on this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna go there. I don't think it's a 5.
It's not quite a 5, but it's definitely more than a 4.
Yeah, it's just like, and I think the 4. I'll give it a 4, and I think most of that is due to the era in which it was made and the riffs were written, in that everything that they were doing, they were just on fire with it.
Yeah. So that brings us to a grand total of 33 out of 50 for this movie.
Wow. Dude, I was not expecting this movie to rank that high.
That's way higher than I was anticipating before I watched it this morning. Way higher.
Well, I think a lot of it, I know I said this before, but I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that, like, number one, what kind of movie it is and when it came out and what was, like, surrounding it.
Yeah.
As far as RiffTrax releases go. It was just so weird and out of place and jarring. But also just, like, because of all that, people just forgot about it, you know?
Yeah, it's one of those ones that has, I don't know, pretty much disappeared from
like,
the fan base's
memory, yeah.
consciousness. Yeah. But again, you gotta, like you said, you gotta look at what came out around it. I mean, like they were doing Mario
they were doing,
Brothers.
Like, RiffTrax, they were doing RiffTrax Live Sharknado that year.
Yeah.
Godzilla. That's probably one of the best RiffTrax Live seasons they've had. So there was a lot of other things getting attention at that time, and because it was so weird, and I think people were just kind of like happy to forget it. But I think it deserves to come back around.
Yeah, like a month before Yambao was when Zindi came out, and they did Attack of the Puppet People right before that, Fist of Fury, Terror at 10 Killer, Super Mario. Right after Yambao was Last Slumber Party, like that was the next release. And
well, no wonder we forgot about it. I mean, like, well, not forgot about it, but it's just always kind of like, it was always just there, like in the background, like, I'm Yambao, like, okay, yeah, I see you, Yambao, cool.
Yeah,
but
so
it does have something to offer.
Yeah, it totally does. I think anybody who has not seen this one really needs to just watch it.
It's Dave on said, Friends, like I said. Yeah.
It's on Friends. So if you've got Friends and you don't have this and you don't want to spend the $9.99 on it, check out Friends. Watch it on there.
You know what I would like, because like I generally like I'm a big fan of RiffTrax fan videos that have like the compilations.
Yeah.
Maybe we should contact our friend. I don't even know who he is, but we've plugged him on the podcast. RiffTrax fan videos, I think the YouTube account is, that we talked about a couple times ago.
Yeah.
Maybe we could like come to like, hey, I need you to do all this work for a pet riff of mine called Yambao. I want you to do the work. And put it up on your YouTube channel. But
yeah, you do all the work, and then we'll maybe mention it. Yeah. Oh, Dave. All right. So what should we do next week?
I don't know, because Yambao is just kind of like a couple of weeks ago, it was just like a throwaway thing for like me. It's like, ooh, let's talk about Yambao. That'll suck. Just to kind of like, but I'm really glad that we did it. I mean, do we want to do something else? That's like relatively unknown.
Yeah,
I'm not at my computer.
We should do something else that kind of fell to the wayside around this time. Let's see what else is around here. We did Swamp of the Ravens, which was in the same
that has not been
time
forgotten.
area. No, that definitely has not been forgotten. Supersonic Man, Manos, Doctor Who.
I think we've talked about that.
I'm just going through what else was released around this time. You know what? Maybe we should do Fist of Fury.
That was pretty good. That was also like, well, amazingly, I don't know why that's been forgotten, but it's okay. Yeah, let's do Fist of Fury.
We'll do, as long as there's not a new release this week. We will do Fist of Fury. Fist of Fury.
We're gonna go through all these forgotten gems from the golden era.
Yeah, that's our new plan for this season.
Okay.
We're gonna do a bunch of stuff that people forgot about existed, and try and bring them back into the mainstream fandom.
Yeah, over 500 movies I've done.
Yeah, there's quite a few to go through. Quite a few. But yeah, so next week, if we don't have a release this Friday, then we will be doing Fist of Fury, the 1972 movie, I think, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
With
well, I mean, like,
Bruce
yeah,
Lee.
Fist of Fury is like one of the many, many, many martial arts movies that they've done, and it's probably the best.
Yeah, it's movie wise, definitely the best one that they've done. But yeah,
And lots of Chinese Japanese racism against each other.
yeah, they didn't care for each other much in this movie, especially. All right, guys.
I'm already starting to remember things about it, so we should stop. Otherwise, you're gonna put a nickel in me,
we're
and
gonna
I'm just
start
gonna
going.
go off.
Yeah. That's gonna wrap us up for today on the True Blue Riffcast. If you enjoy the podcast, you can, of course, subscribe here on Twitch. You can also head over to patreon.com/trueblueriffcast. I'm going to actually type that in. True Blue. I got a new keyboard, and I don't really like it. True Blue Riffcast. So you can check that out. You can go over there, and you can support us for a couple dollars a month over there if you do feel so inclined. Otherwise, make sure you drop a follow here on Twitch so you'll get notified whenever we go live with the podcast. Our time is probably going to be changing again shortly.
Yeah.
As soon as Dave gets his new work schedule figured out, we'll let you guys know. We'll post it on the Patreon and on the Twitter account at TB Riffcast for the podcast. And
we'll figure it out. We're not going anywhere.
No, we'll still be going. It'll just be a different day and time.
Yeah.
And, of course, you can follow me over on Twitter at PBandAwesome.
And you can follow me on Twitter at DChadwickAuthor. Check out all my stuff at davechadwick.info. Oh, and you can actually read the rules for writers that I posted on there. Just scroll down to where it says rules for writers, a post like from like May of last year. And that's what I copied and posted. And that's the stuff that got me banned from that group where I had that fight. And just go ahead and check that out. It'll be hilarious.
We'll see you guys next time right here on the True Blue Riffcast.
Rock till you die.
Rock